Yes.
Deepti ji, I had a question before other people join. Uh, like Brahma Vidya, uh, it, it mainly means recognizing everything around you is Brahman, which includes living and non-living things, as in like everything, the whole universe.
Yeah.
And it's all in your mind basically. And once you change the perspective, it becomes Brahman, right? But the world we live in is so real. Like again, it's the reality of the real is also Brahman. I get it, but the real feels like even after you gain Brahma Vidya, how is like the things around you are not going to change. They're still going to stay intact, right? Your environment is still going to be the same, and so are you, and are your parents, your colleagues, etc. So, how do you change your perspective to like it's like this bed is Brahman, and so am I, so is my husband, so is this computer. I mean, like, how do you do that? How do you like change that perspective?
Yeah. Um,
How
See,
do you
at the
achieve it?
moment,
Is it by just listening and like understanding to I'm just trying to figure how you reach there.
yeah, basically, it is a lot to do with correction of the um, self-conclusion, as I've been saying. To correct the self-conclusion, we have to first identify the self-conclusion as limiting. Most of us are happy with our self-conclusion, so we don't find the need to change it. We have in fact developed it because we find it convenient to have that self-conclusion. Now, what happens with Brahma Vidya is it is purely, okay, let me rephrase this. Once you have Brahma Vidya, like you said, the bed will remain bed and all this will continue. As the portion is now going to talk, when you have a self-limiting idea of the individual, whatever you do is giving birth to the set of experiences that you will have earned for yourself, for which you will need again another idea of a form. Now, what happens with, now understood? So, what happens with Jivan Mukti is that all that percolating effect is gone. So, while
It's
within
directly
this,
proportionate to karma, right? Is it?
yeah, yeah, directly proportionate to karma. But the state is free of karma. The karma, yeah. Great, because
Okay,
it's
that
a
was a very
very
clear
good
answer.
no, and that was a very good question. I was about to say, excellent question, excellent question. Great. So let us continue. Yeah, let's continue. So here we are now talking about. Let me first just see sense of individuality and identity. What does it do? Before we go into the text, a little bit of an introduction of the strength of karma, or rather, strength of avidya. If we understand the repercussions, or if we understand the strength of avidya, we will understand the rest of it better. Why does Vedanta talk with such emphasis on moksha, on freedom, etc.? And what is it freedom from? All those things. Avidya means not knowing. Now we have understood. Not knowing your nature is Brahman. When one is in avidya, when one has avidya, one has, there is no gap between avidya and a conclusion about oneself. And in the absence of that gap, it's a simultaneous error in one's knowledge of oneself. A simultaneous error means you are identified with the limiting properties, the limiting characteristics of the body, mind, intellect, etc. Along with it, there is this push in you to find a state of changelessness, steadiness, though we attribute it within this lifetime. We attribute कि हमारे को एक शांति मिलेगी, एक ऐसी स्थिति मिलेगी जहां वो अब I will exist peacefully. I will be peaceful here afterwards. It'll be, even if I don't understand what is moksha, what am I aspiring for? If we recognize what am I really aspiring for, and when I am just a little more objective and I recognize it's not just me who's aspiring for it, I find everybody is aspiring for the same. We are aspiring for an insatiable happiness, but from outside objects, people included, conditions. We want that happiness to be insatiable, that, higher and higher and better and better. And every time we think we have got it, if you remember, as a child, example is the best example. When a child thinks he wants a toy and the parents have purposely procrastinated the gift to the child to teach the child how to say no for a little while, etc. The child's unhappiness is unparalleled. It can't understand, the child can't understand what can it be to be more unhappy than that. If any one of us remembers the state of our own life, that when I did not get the toy I wanted, how unhappy was I? And if my mother was crying also, I thought my crying was much more severe than my mother crying at that time, or anybody else, an adult crying. I don't know why they are crying, because I haven't got the toy. That severity of pain, that severity with which I cried, that severity with which I laughed, that exuberance when I thought I got the toy finally, that joy was so unparalleled that I thought nobody can be more luckier and happier than I am. This state of happiness and pain on getting or not getting associated, when I stretch it in life everywhere, throughout our adult life, it doesn't change. This is exactly what we keep doing. We want things. Why? Because that happiness that I thought at that time was final, I realized after some time it is not. And I had to do nothing to lose it. That's the worst thing. I just had to do, I thought I was going to hold that happiness forever. There was nothing that will make me more happier than that. And yet, without doing anything, the happiness went. And now that it has gone, what has it left behind again? Now the same object I cannot find happiness with, because I've already seen that is object se to jo anand mila tha wo chala gaya. So now I should look for another object and a greater happiness, so that now that happiness should not go. This is the gati of avidya. When one doesn't know who one is, which is sarva vyapaki, sarvantara antaryami, satchidananda swarupaha, when one doesn't know oneself as this I'm calling it chase. This chase for happiness, fullness, peace, fulfillment, use any word you like or replace the word with anything else. That is not ending. It doesn't cessate itself. It doesn't culminate itself. It remains. This is the strength of avidya, because Vidya means I am paripurna. I am fulfilled. I have no vacuum. I have no lacuna. I have no deficiency. I am not incomplete. I am not limited. I am Sachidananda Swarupaha. When this knowledge is there that I am Sachidananda Swarupaha, as we just saw, the entire Jiva Buddhi is replaced. There seems to be no more force to chase anything. So with avidya, what had happened is, the technical term for it is, wherever I find, everywhere there will be avidya, it is instantly replaced with some desire. Kama. Avidya has the root avidya, the sprout is kam. Kama means not Hindi kam, desire. The sprout is desire. Desire for what? We just said. To find that peace, to find that fulfillment, to complete oneself, to have that peace which is changeless. Even when I say these words, how much will we identify that this really is the spirit with which I do everything? If you tell me that my taking this class is going to give me pain and sorrow, will I want to take it? If you say that my doing anything in class is not going to give me happiness, more happiness than what I already have, and I may have a lot of happiness, and unless until I think that happiness is limited, and by doing something else I will get more happiness, why will I do it? Now, this thing that is there means there is a desire that seems to be sprouting all the time, which pushes us by itself. That calm becomes the force for karma. Now, I seem to be engaged in karma. Supposing teaching is a karma. I'm teaching this, supposing. Not supposing, at the moment, yes, I am. This is not supposition. Now, I am teaching this. Now, when I'm teaching this at the moment, it's a karma. What happens to this karma? Why is the karma initiated? Who initiated it? Did someone tell me? Did someone force me? Did someone chain me to my seat and said, "Nahi loge to tumko next, you will not get your food. You will suffer with hunger. You will die ultimately." Some sort of a Bollywood dhamki. Supposing I was given, and so I am forced to take class. Is that so? If I'm forced to take the class, if I'm forced for that, if I'm not forced, it's willful. And if it's willful, this being a karma, look backwards is all that we can do. And when there is karma, the karma behind the karma, the desire behind the karma can be rectified. That desire behind the karma can be identified. And the desire behind the karma can be corrected in the light of self-knowledge. That I don't have to do the karma because I'll get my bread and butter. I don't have to do the karma because I get something or the other. I can just simply do the karma because I see the utility of the value of this knowledge, and this is, you receive, you give. Some sort of a correction. This is just an example. But the minute that karma is addressed at the level of karma, avidya still being there, I still do not know. I have no Vedantic knowledge, supposing. I still don't know I'm Brahman. Because the minute you have corrected, what did we just finish reading? He's a Jivan Mukta. He's freed from all karma. If you think along, if he's freed from all karma, means he is not a karta. He has nothing to do. There is a bhav in Shastra, he's kritakritya. A jnani is called kritakritya. Just as I was saying, that person who had this vigor of Chidakasha, this kritakritya word gave vigor to someone. What is kritakritya? Means accomplished everything that needs to be accomplished. Has nothing left to be accomplished. Kritakritya, kar diya jo karna tha. अब कुछ और रह नहीं गया करने को. There is nothing. And when we say there is nothing, it is not from a sense of duty. Brahmagyani is kritakritya. He's accomplished whatever there was to be accomplished. There is no force from within. Now there is no avidya. And avidya not being there, there is no force from within to identify with that sense of कुछ करना है, कुछ बनना है, अगर नहीं किया तो क्या होगा, है ना? That limiting adjuncts, that vacuum, खालीपन दूर करना है, you know, कुछ look at our thoughts, and this is universal. There is so much relaxation in this idea that it is universal. Everybody has this thought that ना खालीपन है, कुछ करें. Especially the first lockdown, people had a lot of it. By second lockdown, and by now it's becoming a habit. But first lockdown, people got a खालीपन कैसे दूर करें. People were getting disconnected. The routines were upset. Everything was turned upside down. Now, what has happened, really speaking, that avidya which is keeping us restless to complete ourselves, which we identify with through the organs of our equipments, and keeps us, our indriyas, activated to fulfill ourselves with an idea, because avidya का लक्षण है कि इंद्रियों से जुड़े हैं और इंद्रियां जुड़ती है बाहर से. We've seen this, no? Eyes will connect to color and form, ears will connect to sound, nose will connect to smell. So our attention of fulfilling happiness remains outside. Antarmukh hona had meant what is vairagyam. Now bring away your attention from these pursuits. Thereby, when you start or when you get the grasp of Brahma Vidya, avidya gone means now the seed which puts you into karma is gone. Avidya mein hai wo, that seed that comes into a sapling to say, I want to do something, I want to be something, I don't have enough, I need more. They're all relatively correct. They're not wrong, just like the blind men holding the elephant from one part of it. It's not discarded as wrong, it is relevant till the time you have full knowledge. That's okay. But to consider that to be only real is the error. So once that avidya is attacked through Brahma Vidya, then what happens after avidya? That karma is not there for anything. Hai hi nahi. Now supposing you were chasing, I don't know about all of you, but when I started working, if after the first impression at that time was, if only I earn 1,500 rupees a month, I would be a rich person. 1,500, a rich person. I will be a rich. I don't want anything more in life. I couldn't perceive life going beyond that. 1,500 meant enough for a month. उसमें कुछ बच भी जाएगा, you know, that kind of a life. 1,500 is good enough. The minute there is this karma for something, supposing, you find the pravritti happening. The word is pravritti. You're put in the cycle of pravritti. But if there is no karma for something, when will there be no karma? Suppose I continue to think I'm an individual and I say I don't need anything more. Will it be lasting? This is where suppression will happen, or some other alteration of the mind will happen, because how long will you be in that state? You will do something. But with Brahma Vidya, now, for the one who has Brahma Vidya, what happens to his attention of, he has nothing to get. Brahman is all. That doesn't mean that he will not eat food or he will not depend on someone to cook for him if he can't cook for himself. वो शरीर के लेवल पे जो हो रहा है वो अलग है. बट उसके मन में वो जो प्रवृत्ति का भाव है, उसके मन में जो एक कमी का एहसास है, उसके मन में that I am not complete, I am not fulfilled, I want a little more, maybe little more I can do. Even when I have a lot, the little more I can do. Why does a rich person reinvest in something else? A rich person is one I have always, when you're a rich person, now's the time to enter Shastra. Rest of your life you can live on comfortable zone of eating, and ultimately body has to die. As long as you're comfortable for your summer and winter and you have food on your table and you have enough comforts for life, now you are in a bhagyam that you can engage yourself in something which is not going to just be directed to getting more. But yet a rich person engages more in work and wants more out of it. Avidya will not let a person settle. Only thing is, Viveka Shakti is that which will tell them where to direct this restlessness. If you direct it again in the world, now he says, this karma-based karma, that karma-based karma, I'm going to repeat this 100 times, karma-based karma, that karma that sprouted into a tree. The seed was avidya. From avidya came the sapling of karma, and karma sprouted in the tree, has sprouted into karma as a tree, and tree has phal. So you did the action for the phal. वो कर्म किया ही इसलिए था कि फल मिलेगा कल को. I'm investing today so that tomorrow I get some result. And how much does an apple tree take time to yield an apple? When do I sow the tree and when do I get an apple? When do I sow a mango seed and when do I get a mango tree? To have most of us, half the life goes. 1/4 of our life gone before I get the mango from that tree, but somebody else is going to get a mango from that tree. So what is the job of that person then? Sow another seed so that somebody else gets it. This is the spirit in which Vedas teaches us how you should conduct your life in avidya. Because you've benefited, you sow a seed for someone else to benefit, and they sow another seed for someone. Srishti will continue for all those who are in avidya, and they will. So even for the one who is a jnani now, has knowledge, Brahma Gyan, his karma is not springing from avidya. In the Gita he says, when a Brahma Vidya jnani does karma, that karma will always be loka sangraha. It'll be for the benefit of society. Loka kalyan. उस कर्म का उसको बंधन नहीं है. Even when he is engaged in karma, उसको कोई बंधन नहीं है. And this is something which is very deep to understand. On one hand, from Jivan Mukta's Jivan, on the other hand, from Avidyavan's Jivan. Karam bandhta kab hai? That is why Gita goes on, Krishna goes on saying, the first relative peace is जब आप फल से मुक्ति पाते हो अपनी. When you get released from the idea that I will work, that calm should sprout the karma. What do I get? So I do. Otherwise, nothing comes to my mind. I slip into inaction. Shastra says, neither should you slip into inaction, nor should you act only for your own sake. Neither should you be a lazy person who depends on society, nor should you be acting only for your sake. Now that correction that starts happening gives a little freedom, relative peace, brings to the person. Here he says the Atma Jnani is completely freed from all because the Jiva is the one who thinks I am the Karta. See, that's avidya sprouted, the restlessness, I am not complete, so I must do something. I must do something kya hai now? I must do something is the Karta bhav. That restlessness karna hai, karna hai, karna hai, karna hai. And this restlessness doesn't age. Sharir ages. Body ages. The restlessness in a jiva doesn't age. It may succumb for some time, but it doesn't die. It doesn't vanish. It replaces itself here and there. शरीर जब इनफैक्ट काम कम करने लगता है तो वो रेस्टलेस इसलिए इंसान को और तंग करती है. When we are children, we think as we keep growing older, at least I had that goal for myself. When I keep growing older, the older I get, the peaceful I will become. Because I'm going to see life as is and therefore blah. And when you grow older, you realize, oh, the law doesn't work like that. It doesn't work at my will. It doesn't, just because I said I will become peaceful doesn't make good, is not going to guarantee that I'll be peaceful. Because as long as avidya is there, it is going to, it's a default mechanism. You know, when you have those latent, any connection that you have at home, latent electricity keeps running through it. You know, when you keep a plug thing on, and even if you've not kept it to the outlet, at the inlet it keeps on running, the meter is running at the inlet. Because even if it's not used at the outlet, the fact that you've kept it on, पीछे से चलता रहता है वो. Even if it's latent, you don't know it is going on, but it is going on. In the same way, in avidya, there is this latent restlessness in a person. That latent restlessness to complete oneself, is the force of avidya. And when that restlessness makes a person want to do something, it's loud enough, you have only your body and your mind to identify with. So whatever your capacity, whatever your self-judgment, you identify with it and say, let me do this. The minute that avidya was the cause of karma and that karma became the cause of karma, now the law of Ishvara Srishti, उसका जो भी फल आएगा, उस कर्म का जो भी फल आएगा, वो इस कर्ता को ही मिलेगा. What is the law of karma? The law of karma is, this is not a complete law, only in the context I'm talking. The law is, avidya mein, holding avidya, that I am this individual. That is avidya now, because we can't trace it back to saying, I don't know who I am. I see myself as an individual. That is avidya. This avidya is making me want to do something more. Whatever I have is not enough. Whatever I am is not enough. I'm not complete in my perception of who I am. I can do a little more. I can be a little better. I can change a little more. That pravritti that goes on. I don't have more words to explain this. But if you get the idea, then it's enough. That restlessness is making me identifying with only my equipments that I have, where my identity is placed, is body and mind, antakaran. And the minute I identify with it, whatever be the limitation of the equipments, within that and my own previous self-conclusions, I am set to do something. The minute I am set to do something, if avidya and karma were my base, the law is, this will produce an phal. It is not going to be useless. कुछ तो कर्म का फल आता ही है. That phal will return back to this karta. It's like, my favorite example is boomerang. The first time when you read the boomerang, it's a boomerang. You throw it, that actual boomerang is the physical shaped object, chand, half chand kind. You throw it, it's interesting. When does it come back? What is in between? You throw it, when does it come back? In between is two things. One is the momentum with which you threw, and the second thing is the time interval between throwing and its coming back. There is time involved in between. Whatever you threw was the action. Whatever we are doing in karma, from karma is action. That is going to come back to you only. That is the phal. Karma phal. Phal कब आता है? The sapling took time to become a tree. That phal ka gap is what will keep you in sansar. When will that phal come back? Uncertain. What was the momentum you threw it with? If you threw very strongly, maybe come back fast. If you just gently threw it, in the course, of course, that you have tied yourself. This is a very, very, very subtle point. Itna sukshma hai ye point. Yeah, I'm also thinking I'm blessed to have understood it. It's so sukshma. Because between the karta of the karma and the karma phal, जब वो आएगा वापस, I may not see the connection, but I am tied to it. मुझे ही मिलने वाला है वो, और वो कब मिलेगा काल मुझे नहीं पता. I don't know. And this is one action, one boomerang. Are we only doing one action at a time? Are we only actually all our life only did one action? And is it only one lifetime? Gahana gatihi, karmana gahana gatihi, Gita says. कर्मों की गति बहुत गहन है, बहुत गहरी है. But what is to be picked up is two things. A, you are the doer of it. You generated the cycle. So if you take it in the right sense, it empowers you. You are the one who starts the cycle. Now, supposing I teach, I found that there were certain missing links in my understanding when I was taught. So I am presuming that if I'm teaching as best as I can, I am throwing the boomerang that if my knowledge doesn't complete, then I may get a teacher who will also teach me the way I want to be taught. Who knows? This is just a joke. But Gahana Gatihi. You can be empowered by the fact that karma is in your initiation. It's your initiation. And you can be discerning about what you choose, because karma will bring the result. No doubt about that. So as long as, now forget avidya, because that's the base with which you started, the karma. As long as this karma is connected, once it's initiated, phal you don't know when it is coming, you are invisibly connected to the phal. This invisible connection ke liye, whatever phal has to come, you have to be the experiencer of it available there. Am I making some sense? You are going to be the experiencer, you will have to be available to receive the phal. That receipt of the phal that you have to be available for is what keeps the jiva in gati. Because under which circumstances, under what condition are you going to be the bhogi of the karma that you generated? That whole law under which you will be born to experience that set of experiences entirely will be unique to you based on your karma. Under Ishvara Srishti. That is, Ishvara is the law holder. That it will be absolutely flawless. They say in the Shastra, they say, there is a record keeper. You know how in our offices you have the accountants and they keep the record of how much expend has happened and how much has come in and what was spent where and what was detail. And if something goes missing here and there, who's accountable? That accountant gets accountable. That he missed out on something. There is this accountant in the Ishvara's creation that's called Chitragupt. Chitragupt is his name. He keeps an account of everybody's karma, how proficient he must be. I mean, how efficient this person must be, how efficient this Chitragupta is, who keeps account of everyone's karma. And if you take one lifetime, day after day, and from Chitragupta's standpoint, birth after birth. As long as you're in Avidya, his record books are flawless. He knows exactly what is each one doing and getting. It's a very precise functioning that is incomprehensible to human intellect. Can anyone say why? If you understand the concept, it is a very precise functioning and incomprehensible to human intellect. Why? Because karma presupposes kal. Kal is time. And time, presupposing it, means it takes into the expanse your entire Jiva Yatra, not just this lifetime. And you are forgetting your previous lifetimes. You don't have memory of your previous lifetime now. But karma works with the totality of your karma, not just this lifetime. And you are trying to understand karma through this life's intellect. You will never have all the factors because you can't access your previous karma. And even if you do, not all of them are done willfully. Karma here, Shastra has a definite meaning. We are going to probably take this up tomorrow. Karma has a definite meaning in this context, which is karma phala. Karma and karma phala now, if you understand it correctly, would you think they are different or they are two sides of a coin? They are two sides of a coin. जहाँ कर्म है वहाँ कर्म फल होगा. Avidya में, avidya is only presupposing factor. Karta, I am the doer. That bhav, that notion, individual notion with which you do is the only presupposition. Leave avidya aside. We are in the process of karma with jivatva buddhi. This jivatva buddhi, when it identifies with the organs of action, now that you know, and your entire sharira, your prana, your mano, your buddhi, everything is employed around the organ of action with which jiva buddhi is identified with, you are a karta. And as a karta, whatever you generate as an action, the other extreme, other side of it is the boomerang, that point at which it will go, where it will start coming back to you. Till it is where it is going, you do not know. When it is coming back will depend on how far it has gone. And so that point is where the bhog starts. And you are through and through connected between karma and bhoga. And when it comes back to you, you become the bhogi. So karma and bhoga are two sides of a coin, which a jiva has no respite from. For karmas that he does out of a sense of jivatvam. And the jivatvam's root is avidya. And only Vedanta Shastra in creation addresses avidya. Rest of all religions and all schools of thought start from जीवत्वम को और अच्छा जीवत्वम कैसे दे सकते हैं. But they will never end the cycle. Only Advaita Vedanta will end the cycle. And so the one who is a Jivan Mukta, he is freed of all karmas. There is no fruit coming back to him. But if this law is as is, then what happens to his karmas? On Gyan, what has happened to all the karmas that were set in boomerang motion and before they got fructified, ab iske karma ka, what happens suddenly when he's become Brahma Buddhi? With Karta Buddhi he did many, but Brahma Buddhi to ab bani. He is Brahman throughout, but Brahma Buddhi nahi thi, avidya thi, Jiva Buddhi thi. Jiva Buddhi में कर्म कर दिए. अब कर्मों में फल जैसे जैसे आएंगे तब तक के लिए वो जुड़ा हुआ है. But in the process, some bhagyam, I will always call it, Shastra says it actually. Shastra says it's certain bhagyam with which you have Advaita ka sanskar. For whatever reason, your knowledge completes now, supposing. And Jiva Buddhi is gone. There's only Brahma Buddhi. You are a Jivan Mukta now. What happened to all the rest of the karmas and what will happen to the rest of your life when you will do karmas? That's the question that he's addressed here. So for that, he's going to start talking about what happens to Jivan Mukta's karmas, and we take away from there both the lessons. Not only what happens to Jivan Mukta's karmas, we also take away as an extrapolation, which is not said in the text, but we understand what keeps us in the Jiva Yatra. What are the karmas we initiate, and how then starts the process of self-development. The one who understands this, his life becomes, he is actually a yogi. That's called being in yoga. That thereafterwards now, all my karma, all my thoughts, all my words, everything becomes yoga. Yoga means effort to unite myself. Yuj dhatu means effort to unite myself. That uniting is not a karma. That uniting means anything that will help me to discover, as in to reinforce my Brahma Vidya. That is the one who engages his life in lifelong pursuit, it becomes then, or depends on your boomerangs of the past. So this is what he said. And now he'll talk about what are the karmas, how has he become freed of all the karmas. To say that, he says karmas are of three types: agami, sanchit, prarabdha. Iti tri vidhani. In this manner, there are three divisions of karma: agami karma, sanchit karma, and prarabdha karma. These are the three classifications of karmas. Keeping in mind kal. Kal is the connecting factor. Time is the connecting factor. Keeping that time factor, because time is uniting the you and fruit. The jiva and the fruit is united by time. So based on time are the three classifications of karma, which we will do tomorrow. So,
Deepti
yeah.
Sorry. You mentioned that there are two things to remember about karma, and the first you said is you are the doer and you generated the cycle, so you need to discern, be more discerning. And what's the second one?
I've also lost the thought track. Oxygen depletion.
Okay,
I'll try
that's okay.
and I'll see how.
That's okay. That's okay.
I don't remember it all.
Okay.
And at that moment, in the moment of inspiration, or I don't know what to call it.
I think you may find it in the recording if you listen to it again. Malini ji.
Will do.
Thank you. I did complete it, right, Divya?
Yeah. It was there.
Okay.
So I remember it. So that's why I'm saying maybe you go back, you'll be able to track.
Oh, great. I thought I missed it. Okay, wonderful. Thank you so much.
Thanks.
Yes, Divya, continue. You can end it.
ॐ सर्वेषां स्वस्तिर्भवतु सर्वेषां शान्तिर्भवतु सर्वेषां पूर्णं भवतु सर्वेषां मङ्गलं भवतु सर्वे भवन्तु सुखिनः सर्वे सन्तु निरामया सर्वे भद्राणि पश्यन्तु मा कश्चित् दुःखभाग् भवेत्। ॐ स्वस्ति प्रजाभ्यः परिपालयन्तां न्यायेण मार्गेण महीं महिषा गोब्राह्मणेभ्यः शुभमस्तु नित्यं। लोकाः समस्ताः सुखिनो भवन्तु। काले वर्षतु पर्जन्यः पृथ्वी सस्यशालिनी। देशोऽयं शोभरहितः ब्राह्मणाः सन्तु निर्भयाः। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः।
Excellent, Divya. You have been practicing. How beautiful. Thank you so much. Thank you. I still remember I have to do the part 2 chanting. I have not forgotten. I will do it soon. And I am still hoping Priyanka is still volunteering to complete it. Yeah? Okay, great. So I'll do the part 2 and then I'll do the whole thing as we have said. But just give me that. But definitely we will do it and keep it because this is so beautiful. Thank you, Divya. And thank you, everyone. See you tomorrow at 11 o'clock.
दीप्ति जी प्रणाम. Thank you.
Deepti ji.
Thank you, Deepti ji.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Deepti ji.
Thank you.